Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my peeps and subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be just talking about and discussing something that we talked about over the course of a couple of past months. Since I had this psychic challenge from this book, it is now time for us to figure out and decode one of the messages that are in this book. Now, I'm hoping that we are able to decode it and we have the right accurate message, but we're just going to go ahead and figure what it is. And if you want to help and engage and you want to be able to help me figure this out, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Now, this specific video is being recorded on Friday, May 2nd at 8:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as of when I'm recording this specific video. So if you want to help out this channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with our overall content, and just watching this video longer than normal and sharing this video with others really help the channel grow tremendously. If you also want to be notified when I do post and upload, go into the comment section below or the description and follow my Blue Sky account or my Facebook group, and you'll be notified when I do post and upload next. Alright, and this video is just for entertainment purposes only, for educational purposes only as well. Now, for those of you guys who've been with me for quite some time, you guys are very well acclimated to what this book is. This book is my psychic challenge book. The way I get my messages is pretty simple. I take a permanent ink cartridge. Um, what's it called? It used to be a feather pen, but that's become very difficult. So instead, I use a glass little pen, glass ink pen. I, I dip it in, and then I just start writing away. But before I start writing away, I set my music to the Akashic records. I connect myself in that meditation to that meditative trance. And once my audience starts going haywire, I start writing what I'm hearing. So this is how I did it. So in this book, specifically, this book is called All Knowing, All Seeing, Thy Truth, Thy Future. So that is what this book is called. All right, and I believe the channel that we are speaking of in particular will be on the channel. Okay, so this is the channeling that we're talking about here. The channel matches at 2:45 a.m. Eastern Time on January the 9th, 2025. So that is the channel that we're talking about and discussing. And it says here, fraud will be found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. And now, you're probably wondering, Chris, what does that mean? What does that mean? We're going to find out in today's video and try to decode it. That was one of the things that I was told to do. I didn't have time to do it, so now it's time to do it. So that's what I'm going to do this specific video. It's interesting because when we try to go up to the couple of bullets prior to this, it says here, Congress will decertify the results in due time, but not in which when he is still alive, for that he will be stripped of his number and title and considered illegitimate. 3 impeachments will befall the next president, for that he has already committed 2 major crimes outside the scope of being in office. He stole them out and gave documents away. Right? If you go up to the third one before, it says here, there is no fraud in this election, with the mere exception of manipulation, in whatever form they decide to do it in. Now, a lot of you guys are probably going to be a little confused, like, what does that mean? If there's manipulation, it's fraud. Yes, it is. But the spiritual world had to describe it in a way in which it doesn't tell you it's obvious. It's not naked. It's not right in front of you. Instead, it's hidden. It's lurking. It's from within. We're talking about the coding systems. So what it is talking about like whatever form they decide to do it in is some form of manipulation. For say for example they manipulated the voting booth, right? That is harder to prove than to say to prove they stole ballots or added ballots in. That's harder. But in a manipulation of a voting booth, well, that's easy, right? You can essentially, the way that I described in the past when I got in my tarot cards multiple times, is that what they did was, for example, the Democrats and the Republicans, just say a normal election, whoever has the most votes will win the seat, right? Common sense. The way it was manipulated, though, was that when ballots were going in for candidate A, which was representing the Democratic Party, and candidate B, who's representing the Republican Party, the coding mechanism believes that candidate A needs a limit, and there's a coding system that limits the maximum amount of votes that a Democrat vote can be counted before it stops counting the votes. It doesn't mean the votes doesn't go in. The votes go in, but they just don't get counted. They disappear from the record. They're not there. Essentially, the Democrats would be capped at 2 million votes, but the Republicans, they have an unlimited ceiling. So they can go to that 2,000,001 vote and they will win the seat. Despite the say, for example, that 2.3 million people came out to vote for the Democratic Party, but only 2 million got counted. The other 300,000 are considered ghost ballots, right? So that's essentially how they worked that. They worked it in a way in which ballots would be considered a ghost, and this would disappear because they manipulated how the voting booths and how they calculate the results and data. So essentially, I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I made many videos on this actually. So if you want to be able to have a better understanding about what I'm talking about, you can go into the comment section below and in the description, and you'll find all those videos that's listed, and also I'll add some at the end of the video to this video. But hopefully you do understand, but if you don't, if you have any questions, feel free to include it in the comment section below as well. Alright, so let's go ahead, let's begin, let's find out what is going on. We're going to talk about fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Is that proof of what happened in the 2024 election? Is that a different type of form? I also believe that at one point it might also indicated that Elon Musk was the foreign adversary. Now, I do want you guys to keep in mind that the way the cards work and the way that my psychic predictions, well, not my psychic prediction, but psychic hits when it comes to channeling, is I noticed that they've been very versatile. So just because we talked about a fraud found on a phone of a nearby foreign adversary might indicate there's multiple things going on, right? Doesn't mean that it's one thing specifically, but it's the many things going on. So for example, if you were to go from my December 12th, my December 31st, 2024 psychic channeling, right, you can see that here, right? And it says here that kings will fall not one, but by the many. Now all of us know back in the day they used to call the world's leaders kings. And I said that the Pope may pass away and some others may resign, some may be forced out. And Trump could be forced out because he's part of the same dynamic, right? He is still a leader during this time period. So kings will fall, not queens, kings. So keep that in mind. We already saw a few of those happen already. Alright, so let's go ahead, let's begin. Let's find out what we're talking about in today's video. I really wish this video could be a lot brighter. Alright, so Spirit Angels tell me about fraud found on a phone of a nearby foreign adversary. You mentioned it in my psychic channeling. Can you kind of give us a little bit extra information on this? Fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Okay, now what's really interesting is that we're going to look up what adversary means. I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea what it even means. Okay. Because in order for us to understand the context in which we're talking about in today's video, we got to understand the words that are at play. So let me go ahead and let me just look up what adversary means. Adversary. Adversary means one's opponent in contest, conflict, or dispute. Another term for adversary. It means an enemy or someone who opposes someone else. So, for example, fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign enemy. That's what it is. So it says here, fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign enemy or opponent or whatever you want to call it. It could be literal. We don't know exactly what it means. Like I said, it could be multiple different things in one challenge. Because they made it so that it's easy to tell you what's the general topic of this year. Like what should we expect? The first card that comes in is the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Wands is reversed. It's a very interesting card in this aspect. It's telling me here that someone is heading directly towards something. Someone is moving pretty fast, rapidly, but this person is an individual who's not paying attention. This is somebody who is very confused for some reason. I'm getting them a lot of confusion, and as they move faster and faster, they become more confused. It's very, very strange. It's very bizarre. Then you have this next card comes here, which is represented by the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is a very interesting card as well, because this card indicates that, oh, there's opportunity, there's pretense here. This tells me that there's an incoming tax that's coming, which means that this foreign adversary is referring to information that has been sent in the past, but also information that is yet to be sent. What yet to be sent is something that's a little bit alarming. I'm getting Peter has set for some reason. I'm getting an energy like kind of like that type of scandal in regard to Tech Group being released. I'm getting information somewhere along those lines. Now, as we start to head over into the next card, we start to see the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles is indicating here there's something looking at a goal. Looking at a goal. There's a goal here. And here you're in the corner. You see where my finger is? You see a rabbit. Now, I never noticed this rabbit before, but it's very interesting it comes in at the Queen of Pentacles. Right? And we have roses and bees. I'm hearing roses and bees in particular. So I'm going to take a quick look and find out. What does the rabbit mean spiritually? What does a rabbit mean spiritually? Okay, spirituality. Rabbits often symbolize new beginning, fertility, and abundance, representing a potential for rebirth and fresh start. They are also associated with sensitivity, awareness, and gentleness, reflecting a connection to the moon and lunar cycles. So this is interesting nonetheless. Let's find out when the next moon cycle is. Moon cycle 2025. Alright, so the next moon cycle is going to be May 12th, the flower moon. So that is going to be the next moon that's coming up. So let's go ahead and let's find out what does that mean for us? Flower moon astrologically. So in order for us to better understand the context in which we're reading, we need to understand the whole meaning of all this. I mean, and you know how it's interesting how I said I noticed the roses? It's also a flower. The flower moon astrologically is a full moon that occurs in May, symbolizing growth, renewal, and the beauty of spring blossoming flowers. It is a time of heightened energy, encouraging focus on the positive and manifestations of dreams. The flower moon also represents the abundance of joy associated with the planet Jupiter and the fire sign Sagittarius, which often graces. So it's also very interesting that it's represented here in a specific concept about Jupiter and Sagittarius. Now, we all know Sagittarius takes place in the month of November, right? But Jupiter is all about the creativity aspect of that, the creative mindset. Now, we're talking about the fraud being found on a phone of a nearby foreign adversary. We're talking about Jupiter and Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is the month of November, and the creativity in doing something around the month of November or around the Sagittarius energy. Now, this person could be directly correlated to someone of a Sagittarius energy, so somebody with a sun sign Sagittarius, or it could be somebody who did an action in the month of Sagittarius, whatever that may be. In particular, I think it might be November, December. That's what I'm kind of thinking it is, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. The next card after the Queen of Pentacles, we have this card. And it comes in as the Hermit. The Hermit card is a very interesting card because it's all about the darkness. Right? It's all about the darkness. Normally it means finding the light even when things are too dark. But it's saying here that the lights go out. The lights go out for a specific individual. This person is hidden. So while they've been so successful at being able to do what they got to do to get to the goal that they need to go to, right? Because you start to see here, as somebody moves faster, someone becomes more and more confused about what's going on. They're confused. They're moving faster, but they're confused while doing it. And this person here is the Four of Cups, which is representing somebody who received information from the past, but also is awaiting information from the future, right? And this is in relation and correlation to Jupiter and Sagittarius and the flower moon, which is coming on May 12th. That is in direct correlation with what happened before. What they created is about to bloom. What they started is about to blossom. And we're going to start to see that in the middle of May. Right? So whatever they manifested, these individuals, whatever this foreign adversary is, going to start to see its work come to fruition. Its hardship come to fruition. You're going to start to see it in the flower moon cycle. And then you have here the Hermit card in reverse. The darkness befell them. Right after May 12th, I do feel like there is indication that things start to go downwards. Because remember, when you start to get the fruit of your labor, right? After you abused it and you take too much from the tree at once, you take too much of your labor, there's nothing left on the tree. There's nothing for the world to enjoy. There's nothing for the squirrels, the birds, the bees to enjoy, right? Because you took all your fruit of labor. Yes, you worked for it. Do you deserve it? Yes. But also, there's some sort of humility in you to go and share that with the universe. Share that with the world. Share that with the environment around you. Don't just take it all. Share a little bit, right? Because that's the best way to improve your life and to just go forward by sharing. And here you have the Hermit card saying in reverse because it's saying here that this is a sense of darkness for whoever this is, which means that they go in hiding. After the flower moon has been revealing what has been blossoming, what has been seeded, will come to fruition, come to the forefront. This person will go hiding. And here you have the Two of Cups reverse. And a true captive reverse is that this person ends a connection with a different individual. They end what what they did. Whoever this is wants a way out. They want a way out. So what I'm getting the energy is that this is somebody who is saying like, oh, I don't really like doing this, but I committed to the job. My life is on the line. I'm getting mafia type energy here. And like their life is on the line, so they complete the goal comes to fruition, it becomes blossomed, it goes to the forefront. And they were able to complete what they need to do, and now they want a way out. Now here's the kicker. Here's the kicker though. Just because it goes out and goes into the forefront doesn't mean that they got away with it or they got successful. Now, sometimes when things blossom, they come to the forefront. Now, especially when you do things that are meant to be hidden, not meant to be out in the open, not meant to be seen, if you will. If you were to have something be blossom out into the public eye, even though you planted the seed and, you wanted to have the fruit of your labor, and now it's out in the forefront for people to see it, you gotta ask yourself, have I just been exposed? There could also be indicating here with the flower moon that something is going to be exposed. But that would essentially come to the forefront that forces the individual to go into hiding, which is represented by the Hermit card in reverse. Now, going on top of these two cards here, which is represented by the Four of Cups, and the Knight of Wands reverse, which means confused and running towards something at high speed. And the faster you go, the more confused you become. Where this person received past information, but is awaiting its last goal or mission before it completes. Here on the top of that, you have the Strength card in reverse. This person is not as strong. They're not strong to stand against the waves, the tidal waves, the waves of change, right? They're not strong long term. Now, this is this is the bottom of the deck right here, which is represented as the Seven of Wands, which means they're gonna be up against. I feel like I'm getting information, and it's like almost feels like these are like somebody who's talking at the podium, right? And this is like multiple like news outlets trying to get information, like where they have like the mic. We've seen like the news media, and they're all trying to carve on the hottest news story that's outright in the moment. It feels very much like this. Right? At the top of the deck here is we have the Page of Pentacles reverse. The Page of Pentacles reverse is a slow opportunity. They're not going to get the payout that they were promised. So they were promised monetary sums from a specific individual, and this has to do with the Empress. I'm getting Russia. I'm getting something from Russia. Is this to do with Russia, Spirit? Okay, I'm hearing some different things. I'm hearing some other words. I'm hearing the Congo. I'm hearing Russia. And I'm hearing South Africa. So I'm getting those specific regions. There's two regions in Africa, and one in particular in Russia. I don't know what the Congo means. Now, like I said, it can mean multiple different things. It could be literal. It could be somebody who is Congolese. Then they team it up with somebody who their boss might be South African. And then the South African boss might have a higher up boss but might be Russian. It could be something simple as that. It could be little directly. Or it could be that multiple different meanings because the reading is saying is talking about multiple different people, multiple different groups, and this is just an overall broader theme of what to expect this year. So it could be multiple different things that play. We'll figure it out as we get a little closer. But let's go ahead and let's find out about America eclipse. This is going to help us better understand the nature of what's going on here. And then we'll end today's video. Alright, so spiritual angels tell me about what's going on with fraud being found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. How does this relate to the United States in some way? How does fraud being found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary relate to the United States? How does fraud being found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary relate to the United States? How does fraud being found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary relate? Fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary in the U.S. Okay. The bottom of the deck here, we have the King of Coins. We have Elon Musk. Right, Elon Musk, the South African. Then on the top of the deck, we have the Empress, which is Melania Trump, or Ivanka Trump. I had no idea. But who cares? This is the Empress card, right? Very interesting card. And we have yellow roses in particular. Okay, which means I do. Okay, so as we start to go in, let's take a deep dive and let's find out fraud found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary and how does this relate to the United States. Underneath the Knight of Wands here, would indicate as you go faster, you become more confused. The first card that comes in is Goldman Sachs, which is the Queen of Coins, right? Money. So they're saying one thing while slipping the money of another, getting paid to do something at the cost of something else, right? You represent your values, but you really had no value because you are compromised, right? The next card is you have the Ace of Coins. As something moves faster, there is more confusion. There's no better way to describe a computer simulation. Now, this is very interesting because as something starts to move at such a rapid pace, with a clear pace, right, specifically in the computer system, the faster it goes, the faster it moves, right, the more it burns up. And the faster you go into the light, the faster something explodes. And that's exactly what's going to happen. That there's going to be an explosion of some sort. There's going to be an ending of some sort. And here you have the world, right? The world. Now this is a very interesting card because you have the Knight of Wands, which means the faster you go, the more confused you are. And it's interesting because it talks about the spinning, right? Confusion, the world, which represents confusion because the more you spin around your orbit, the more confused you go. Because while the sun is stationary and the Earth moves around in its orbit, the Earth is spinning as it moves around its orbit, right? And as you think about it, if you were to do that continuously, every single day, 24 hours, you'd be in a state of confusion. You would not be able to stand. You would not be able to walk. Yet again, you won't even be able to orbit, right? Because you'll be in a state of confusion. Your mind is just not designed to do that. But they are. And what's interesting enough, if you notice, that almost in every video, and every card, has an indication of technology, which means that there is technological abuse here in some way. So the phone of a nearby phone adversary is indicating technology was used to create some sort of desired effect in some way. And it was done through the internal component of a computer hard drive rather than the physical open drive is the internal component. So like, you know how back in the day where they used to say like, oh, you should tap Mitt Romney 2012, it would vote for Obama, or you hit Obama and vote for Mitt Romney. That is not what happened in this election. Instead, it was inside the hard drive where the coding system twisted it without you ever knowing it switched. Less likely for you to make a claim and less likely for them to investigate. Right? They learned and got on. But remember, this means confusion. Right? These are older people who yet don't understand the full complexities of the internet. So they use younger people to be able to get the desired outcome that they are looking for. Now underneath this cups, four cup, we have here prudence, which means national security, and this is lavender, and this is nothing but calm. Right? You have to Rubik's Cube that can be completed, which means the pattern is not complete, which means that this is something that's going to be continuously going until they're able to discover what happened into the coding system that allowed it to occur. What's also really interesting as well, because how it's relating to the United States, is that the Four of Cups is indicating that there's information. The Four of Cups is telling us here that something from the past, a mission that was completed in the past, but there's one more mission that's coming right before the fruition comes in. This is representative of national security threat. So there's a threat of national security, well particularized within the United States, that otherwise would have been alarmed and would have alarmed the United States, but instead it does not. Something is being released, and it has to do with the threat of the United States. And now, the next card that comes in, which is represented as the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles here is indicating calmness, peace. It talks about Jupiter. It talks about Sagittarius, November, right? We have here the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is the betrayal, right? The ending of the United States. It's reversed. Because the goal here isn't to destroy the United States. The goal here is to essentially take over the United States. Because the best way that I could describe it, an indication I'm getting here, is very similar to a hermit crab, right? So when a hermit crab is looking for a new home or a new place to live, it will seek out a new shell, right? But it will hold its body. And so what is the United States, what is happening in the United States? They're essentially taking out the old crab out, the old hermit crab, and instead forcibly forcing themselves to be inside that same shell. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to take out what makes it a hermit crab, and the hermit crab, so another hermit crab, try to take over the same shell that they themselves could become the United States of America. So what is the United States? What's going on in the United States? They're stripping anything and everything that makes it a hermit crab of the United States, and instead a new hermit crab is trying to take over the home of the United States. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to strip it and then take over. That's what the Queen of Pentacles did. Not to completely demolish it, but to destroy it so that it has no integrity, no connection to the previous way of doing things. Now, it's interesting how I said it goes in hiding, right? This individual goes in hiding after completing a specific goal, which is represented by the Queen of Pentacles. They did it, they got the goal, they got what they needed. They're in position of power, they're able to do what they gotta do. That's why the Queen of Pentacles comes in here, then the Ten of Swords is reversed. Now, as you start to go into this section here, you have the Hermit card in reverse. And the Hermit card in reverse talks about going in hiding, right? This means moving the light and going into the light. But it's reversed. It means going in a period of darkness, hiding. It's represented as the moon, right? The moon. You go in darkness, right? You're hiding. You're scared. This is indicating here. This is the period, right before they go hiding, right after they complete a goal. Right this little gap here between the two cards, it's the flower moon, the flower cycle, right? Because it's representing Jupiter and the creativity of the Sagittarius energy, right? This is the flower moon. This is the moon that's coming, the moon next moon cycle, which is May 12th. So you're going to start to see this individual start to hide right after that period of point. So something's going to start to get revealed around that point in time, and they're hiding, which is represented at the moon. But they got to be careful though, because they're investigators here. And it's represented by the black wolves. They're hiding within the dark. Just say once the sun goes down, right, you're not going to be able to see the wolf because they will camouflage within the night. Which means that while they're hiding, someone's ready to strike. Underneath the Two of Cups, right? The Two of Cups, which means them wanting a way out. Them saying, hey, 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 I completed the goal. Look what's happened. This is in the news cycle. You got what you wanted. I'm done. I'm out. I'm gone. I don't want to be here anymore. Now, what's really interesting as well is that we also talked about the energy and the momentum that despite all of this, they don't want to be there. But also, when things get ballooned out to the surface, right? Just because you completed a goal, sometimes, especially when you're hitting, they're not meant to be seen publicly, and it gets blown out into the surface because once you planted the seed, now comes to fruition. Every seed you plant will come back to bloom, right? The same concept is here. They don't want to be seen publicly about it. And here you have the Scorpio card, right? We have the predator and the prey and the lily. And what does it say here? Russian probe turns spotlight on Krishna, right? This is the Scorpio energy, right? The mysterious energy, right? They don't want to be seen. So this is somebody, like I said, who is Sagittarius, but someone who doesn't like to be seen, who doesn't want to be out in the open. But also, this is someone who is afraid that they're going to get caught if they keep doing it, because they're making mistakes, or the mistakes are going to get revealed, and they're afraid that they're going to have to be taking the fall. I'm also hearing anthem. For some reason, I don't know why I'm hearing the word anthem. Don't know what it means, but that's what I'm getting. Then you have here, the challenge to the Scorpio card is the air, the polluted air, right? Air. Air is a very interesting quality here because it's also, too, a shapeshifter energy. But nothing is as powerful as water. Water is the most powerful shapeshifting element all in humanity. But the air is just as powerful, if not a little bit less powerful than water. And water has the ability to shapeshift into calmness and also into destructive. Very, very big drastic changes. And you're probably saying air can do the same. Yes, air can, but not without water. Right? It needs hydrogen in order to power steams. It needs hydrogen to power a hurricane. It needs hydrogen to power a tornado. Water does not need anything else except water. So that is the difference between the two. But the air is a challenge here. It's look at all your destruction and now you're asking to walk away from this. You're asking to walk away and look what you did. Look what you did. And you think you're going to get away with that? I don't think so. So, I think we're going to end off the reading in that specific way. I think this is going to be a part 1 or part 2 series. I think that as we get closer, or even on the day of the May 13th, we will discuss a little bit more because there's going to be a lot more coming out soon. Let's just get one little card here to find out if it can give us a little cliffhanger. If you guys are not familiarized, this is the colored index card, so that means major arcana. Anything white colored means minor arcana. Okay? Alright, so let's take a look at May 12th flower moon for in terms of fraud being found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Fraud being found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Fraud being found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Mm-hmm. Getting blue, aqua, or royal? Royal? Okay. I'm getting closer further. Okay, I'm getting closer. Okay, they're telling me just these 2 cards. Okay, what's the first card? We have angels. Interesting that we showed that before. It comes up again. Angels. And then we have house. Angelic house. Angel house. Flying house. Angels. Angel house. Angel house. What does that mean? What does angel house mean, spirit? I'm hearing, or I'm getting from them, they're telling me it's the home or the home. So it could be possibly they're going to find this at a home of somebody of immense influence. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is an investigation or a false investigation of an individual, and they're trying to either pin it on them, or they actually found something. But again, if this is part of the 45 administration and he orchestrated the whole thing, it's most likely they are pinning the blame on somebody else who was not involved in any way. Alright guys, I thank you, I love you, hope you have a good night, and thank you for coming onto the channel and watching the channel. If you want to help out the channel grow, like I said, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of today's video. I'm really curious to see what you think, and until then, peace out, I love you.